Ah, yes, I'm getting a hint of Castles of Mad King Ludwig with a slight aftertaste of Between Two Cities. Ah, of course, I should have known. It's one of the best blends from the 2018 vintage. It's Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig from Stonemaier and Games. So, if you're looking for some more in-depth tasting notes on this great game, then might I suggest... Hi, I'm Alex and welcome to Might I Suggest a Game, a channel devoted to helping you find your perfect board game. Today I'll be giving my in-depth tasting notes on Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig, a joint effort from Stonemaier and Games. Before I start, I want to give a big thanks to Jamie and the Stonemaier crew for sending me this review copy, and a big thanks to you for watching this video. If you haven't already, why not hit subscribe and that little bell button too so you can get notified whenever I post new content. Alright, now on to the tasting notes. Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig is a semi-cooperative tile placement game for 3 to 7 players with a 2-player variant included in the rulebook. At first glance, this game has some beautiful, picturesque box art, and really, I'm not surprised. It is a Stonemaier game after all. These guys don't mess around. And the quality doesn't stop there. When you open the box, you're greeted with 2 ergonomic game trays that nest really nicely together and keep all of your stacks of tiles organized and ready for the next playthrough. Now, I'm a sucker for both component quality and clever organization, so right off the bat, this game is really tooting my horn. Inside the game trays, you have designated areas for the stacks of room tiles and the wooden castle tokens, as well as the special tiles and bonus cards that you'll use throughout the game. The tiles themselves are nice and thick and feature some really intricate and well thought out artwork for the 147 unique rooms in the game. 147! I particularly enjoy some of the Easter eggs like the scythe room and some of the games in the background of the game room. The one thing I will say right off the bat though is that because the detailed Baroque artwork takes up the majority of the tiles, the actual functions and icons on the tiles can sometimes be too small and difficult to read. The price you pay for beauty. This made our first few plays a little bit tougher, but once you get a few games under your belt and you start to get a sense of what each type of tile does, it definitely becomes less of an issue. Now let's take a closer look at the gameplay. The concept of Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig is simple, and it's even easier to grasp if you played either of its parent games, Between Two Cities or Castles of Mad King Ludwig. In Between Two Castles, you'll be working together with your 2 neighbors to build the wackiest and highest scoring castles that you can imagine. Now it should be noted that at the end of the game, you'll only score points for your lowest scoring castle, so you should try to treat each construction as equally as possible. To begin, each castle will receive 1 random throne room tile to act as the centerpiece to build around. All other rooms after this one must be placed adjacent to an existing room tile, so make sure you plan your architecture accordingly. To build your castle, you'll start with a stack of 9 room tiles. Each player will take turns drafting these room tiles, 1 for each of their castles, without communicating at all with their neighbors. Once you've selected your tiles for the round and placed them face down in front of you, you'll pass the remaining stack of now 7 tiles to the next player. Then all players will reveal the tiles that they've chosen and discuss amongst themselves how they want to expand their castle. When placing your tiles, consider the victory point conditions and bonuses on each tile, and try your best to maximize these whenever possible. It goes without saying, but the fewer rooms in your castle that score 0, the better.
Well, no dip, Sherlock.
Once you've settled where each room goes, you'll grab the next stack of tiles and repeat the process until only 1 tile remains. When this happens, discard all those lonely tiles and draw up a new stack of 9 tiles to begin the second and final round. All rules will remain the same, except for this time, you'll pass in the opposite direction. Once that stack is depleted, the game is over and you'll start scoring your sprawling castles. Now this is where it can get a little bit complicated. The scoring in this game is beyond pointsality. It's more like a point buffet. Personally, I don't mind this because it keeps me from stressing out too much about final scores during the game, but I could see how some more analytical types could get a little bit overwhelmed. So let's do a quick rundown of each room type scoring and bonuses, and when I say quick, I mean quick. So let's hit it. Yellow food rooms want 1 specific type of room in 2 places around them, scoring 2 points points each for a maximum of 4. When you place your third food room, you'll immediately draw 5 new room tiles and select one of them to put in your castle. Purple living rooms want to be fully surrounded by a specific room type for a maximum of 6 to 8 points. When you place your third living room, you'll gain a royal attendant, which will give you 1 bonus point for each room in your castle that has a matching symbol in the top right corner of the tile. Wait, there's more symbols to pay attention to? Don't worry, it's simpler than it looks. There's only 4 of these symbols, so think of them kind of like suits in a deck of cards. Now let's keep going. Orange utility rooms want to be touching connected sets of 1 type of room for 1 point each. When you place your third utility room, you'll draw 3 cards from the top of the orange bonus deck and choose one to keep as a personal face-up goal and end-of-game scoring bonus. Green outdoor rooms score 1 point for every instance of a specific room type anywhere in your castle. The tricky part with these is that because they're open air, indicated by the blue border, you can't build any rooms on top of them. When you place your third outdoor tile, you'll immediately gain a fountain, a specialty open air room that's just worth 5 points straight up. Blue sleeping rooms will score 4 points each if you have at least one of all the 6 different room types in your castle. If you don't though, they'll only be worth 1 point. When you place your third sleeping room, you'll immediately collect a tower, another specialty open air room that scores 1 point for every room in the vertical column below it. Gray corridors want to be adjacent to rooms with matching top right symbols, aka those suits I mentioned earlier, scoring 1 point each for a maximum of 8 points. When you place your third corridor, you'll immediately gain a grand foyer, a specialty room that can be placed anywhere in your castle and scores 1 point for each surrounding room, no matter the type. Last but not least are the black downstairs rooms, which want a specific room type in the vertical column above them. When you place your third downstairs room, you'll immediately be able to take one of any of the other types of bonuses, which can lead to some pretty cool combos. The only other type of room is the specialty rooms with the shield symbol in the top left corner, which includes fountains, towers, and grand foyers, as well as your original throne room. If you're able to get 5 of any room type, you can immediately choose one of the 3 bonus specialty rooms and add it to your castle. Whew! You got all that? You're smart, you'll figure it out. Anyways, when you're done going through each tile in your castle, plus any royal attendants and bonus cards, you'll compare the scores of your 2 castles and take the lower score. Whoever has the highest of the lowest scores wins the game. Now let's jump into some of my final thoughts on this game. Between Two Castles took everything I loved about its 2 parent games, the wacky floor plan puzzle of Castles of Mad King Ludwig and the semi-cooperative player interaction of Between Two Cities, and smashed them into one awesome game that I can't stop playing. One of my favorite things about this game is its surprisingly low barrier to entry. Because you're working with the players on both sides of you, you can strategically intersperse veterans and beginners so that newbies have someone to talk to that can explain strategies in real time. I have no qualms about introducing this game to new players because I know this is a perfect game to learn as you play. And they even thought about the first turn. Especially with tile laying games, it's super difficult to have a good strategy right out of the gate. But since the starting throne rooms have clear objectives laid out on them, even new players can have a micro goal that'll get their castle started in the right direction. As someone who's always teaching new games, I really appreciate the intuitive nature of Between Two Castles, and I know it'll make it to the table a bunch for that reason alone. Now, I talked a little bit earlier about the accessibility issues of the small text and icons on the tiles, but the one other complaint I heard was about endgame scoring. Because there are so many things to calculate, endgame scoring can feel like it takes longer than the actual game, especially for new players. But don't worry, folks, there's an app for that. The Mad King Steward is a third-party app that isn't affiliated with Stonemaier Games, but that cuts down on endgame scoring time by a gazillion%. Yeah, a gazillion. It's an AR app where you just scan in your castle and add in any royal attendants or bonuses you acquired, and it adds it all up for you in the blink of an eye. This app, combined with the simple but strategic gameplay, make this game a must-have for me, and one that I can't wait to sprawl out at a big game night soon. So if you want something competitive but not mean, strategic but not heavy, or just a game that lets you live out your wildest Barbie dream home fantasies, then might I suggest Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Thanks so much for sticking around for my in-depth tasting notes on Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I want to give a big shout out to Stonemaier Games for sending me the review copy, and also to my wife for playing this game a bunch over the last month. Let's just say she's warming up to it. Anyways, thanks so much for all the support so far. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe so I can continue growing this channel and keep helping you find your perfect board game. Once again, this has been a Might I Suggest a Game production, and I'm Alex, your board game sommelier, signing off.